If you want to see me create one last look with the Urban Decay Elements Palette, then stick around. Hi there, it's Hélène with another video, and as you can tell, I have my base makeup on and I'm ready to crack into this Urban Decay Elements Palette one last time. As you may already know, I have a love-hate relationship with this palette. I don't like round palettes, but as it turns out, I am liking a lot of these shadows. And I have used a ton. The most recent look was a look with the browns and golds. I have done a lot. I've done a look with more the purple and browns here, the purple and blues here, and really enjoyed a lot of them. But I've stayed away from a few colors. And I ended up swatching those colors on my hand yesterday and went, I can do a look with the last three. So those are Hex Remedy, which is one that when I swatched it, it looked really funny. It pills in a very, very strange way. So you may want to take a look at that swatches video. And I haven't used Silver Burn, which is a very interesting color. It has green and purple pigments with kind of a purpley gray base. It's very, very interesting. And then Secret Keeper. And Secret Keeper is, it's one of those types of colors that I really, really enjoy. It's kind of a lime green, and I'm all about the lime green. So I want to use Secret Keeper on the inner lid. I want to use Hex Remedy on the outer lid, and then I want to use Silver Burn in the center, and I think it's going to look so, so good. And as just a crease color, I am going to go, I'm almost thinking I should go with Ego as a crease color. I might regret that. I'm going to do swatches on my hand as I usually do, and then we'll finalize what it is that I'm actually going to do. Okay, so what I wasn't sure about was whether Ego was going to work, well, play nice basically with Hex Remedy and Silver Burn, but it does. Oh, and pardon me, and Secret Keeper. And it turns out that it does. So I can definitely use Ego in the crease, although very often people don't say, you know, don't use shimmer in the crease. I really don't care what people say. I will use it whichever way I want. I have right now Vanilla and Tonal in the crease. So Vanilla all over and Tonal in the crease from the Smashbox Matte Exposure, just as a base to set my primer. And now I'm going to go in with these colorful shadows and hopefully create a look that will be exciting. I do already have Annabelle Blackest Black on the upper waterline, and I do have mascara on. It is the Monsieur Big from Lancôme today because I was having trouble with the Stila Huge. I love that mascara, but to do a second look, one look on top of another, it flakes far too much. So I'm going to see how the Lancôme Monsieur Big does. I don't remember it doing that, but we'll find out. So I am going to start with Ego, and you would have thought, because it's a matte, I would start with Dreamweaver, but if you've looked at the previous video, I think it was look number 1 where I used Dreamweaver, it is temperamental. So I want to try Ego, and if Ego is a big mess, I'll go back to Dreamweaver, but Ego is it's more buttery, even. Dreamweaver I find is kind of patchy, although it did apply well, but it's still temperamental. So I'm going to try Ego instead. And how many times can I say Ego instead of Dreamweaver? Let's just get into it. So I took quite a fluffy brush to start off with, and I'm going to go right in the crease. Not usually the type of brush that I would use for that kind of a color, but I also don't go in the crease usually with that kind of a color. There's a first time for everything, right? Okay, that's pretty fetching. I like it. I like it. I think it's very, very pretty. I'm going to do the other eye and then worry about the lower lash line. I didn't know if it was going to pick up on the brush that well, but it does. What a nice surprise. Okay, so that is Ego on both sides. I think it looks very, very pretty. I'm now going to bring it down on the lower lash line. For that, I'm going to use this angled brush, which is becoming typical for me to do. And here we go. This color has enough to it that just it on its own is very, very pretty because it has different hues depending on how you turn, how you look. And I'm sorry, but as a crease color, this looks really good. I don't care what anybody says. I like it. Next up, we are going to go right away into the outer lid with Hex Remedy. And if you recall, Hex Remedy is the purple, the most purple of the shadows in the palette. And actually, in the viewfinder, it looks a little bit more like an indigo blue. But when you look at it in person, it truly is a true purple. But it applies in a very weird way, as I mentioned earlier. It looks great on the finger, but if you drag the shadow, it pills, little black pills. So I'm going to tap it onto the outer lid. Now that turned out well. I'm just going to intensify the color. I'm seeing a tiny bit of the patchiness come through, but not enough for me to get annoyed or worried. And I'm going to drag some of it below, but with tapping motions again, because I don't want those black specks. Wow, those two colors, Ego and Hex Remedy, they really, really behave well together. Look at that. Okay, I just used up whatever was left on my finger, and now I'm going to go to the other side. And I'll do the same thing on the lower lash line. I'm being very careful not to drag my finger because that's when I got into trouble with that shadow last time. In the swatches, I've never put it on my eye. And I think this is looking really, really nice. So now I want to go in on the inner lid and use, what's it called, Secret Keeper to put lime green on the inner lid. And for that, I'm going to use my pinky. This one first. So I'll use my pinky on both sides and then we'll talk about the next color. Okay, I have some very nice eyeshadows here. Hex Remedy and Secret Keeper work really well together. They're quite complementary. And now I have one more eyeshadow to put on, and that is Silver Burn, which I am intending to put on the center lid. And it is a color that just is going to work well on the other two. It it has this look. It just will put micro shimmer on the two colors, and then I'm going to make sure that it has its own moment kind of in the middle, and hopefully it will give the effect that I'm hoping for. Okay, I really am enjoying this look a lot. The only thing I don't have is I don't have a brow bone highlight right now, and I'm looking at the corners and I don't think, just do a quick swatch here again of Electric Air is what I would put in the corner. Yeah, I think I can do Electric Air today. I think it's going to look okay. I am debating whether to put the Silver Burn on my inner lid. And I think what I'm going to do more so is I'm going to take Elemental and put it on my inner lower lid, or inner lower lash line. I'm going to apply Elemental with my smudger brush. So this is what it looks like, just to get a little bit more precision here. Yeah, I didn't want a glittery mess of fallout. I was worried that that's what was going to happen. And I'm just going to add just a little bit more Elemental on this side. I had a little bit of purple on the tip of my nose. I guess it's because of Hex Remedy. I think this is really pretty. I really do. I think it's as nice and soft but really colorful look as I was hoping for, so I'm really happy with it. I have to admit that these colors make me wonder what using mattes from the Pastel Goth would look like with these as glittery, shimmery toppers on top. I think it would look really nice. Okay, I think I'm done. I think I'm going to do a pairing of some liner and freshen up my mascara, and I'm also going to, oh, no, I said I was going to use Electric Air on my brow bone, and I didn't do that. For that purpose, I'm going to use a flat brush. I'm going in to Electric Air. I did try to use Luna on my brow bone, and I didn't like it very much, so I'm going back to Electric Air. Just a little bit, nothing too crazy. I almost went into Luna, jeez. Luna, I really haven't tried playing with enough. I really think it's more of a transformer, but I haven't given it enough time to really experiment with it, so I'll have to do that at some other time. I'm going to go now with Electric Air on the inner corner. And for that purpose, I'm going to use just a small brush, pointy brush. And Electric Air picks up in a decent way with the brush, so I'm happy with that. I'm just looking for a little bit. I don't like going overboard on the inner corner highlight. I think it looks kind of goofy when we put too much on. Just a little bit. Okay, I'm going to clean things up just a little bit, put some liner on, and then come back and tell you everything I've done since this last step. Okay, I am back. Let's just talk about what it is that I put on my eyes since we last spoke. I decided to go with Ransom from Urban Decay. It's a 24/7 glide on, and it has an iridescence to it that I thought would really go well with what I have on my upper lids. And it can look patchy on the skin, But when you put it on the eye, it doesn't have that patchiness. So I hope you can see a little bit what I've got and how it looks good in my opinion. I touched up the, no, that's not true. I didn't go back on the upper waterline. That was done just before the video, so it doesn't need it. But what I did do is I tight lined up on the upper lash line. And what I did notice though is that it looks like the liner somehow displaced some of the eyeshadow that I thought was kind of interesting. But once I noticed the tendency, I just made sure that I really kept really close to the lashes, and I think that that worked out better. And I had a couple of black specks there. Okay, so those two are done. I did also change my lip color. I had a colored lip balm before. It's discontinued, so it doesn't really matter what it was. Kind of a light beigey brown, and now it is the Tropez from Anastasia. It's a lip gloss, and I just thought that it went well with this look, especially because of the Ego color in the crease. And I also touched up my mascara, and I can confirm that the Monsieur Big does not flake anywhere near as much the Stila Huge. So if you do this on a regular basis, which is what I tend to always show for my makeup looks, is I have a base before I start, and then I'm basically transforming that base with colorful shadow. If you tend to do that going from day to night, then I would probably suggest the Monsieur Big over the Stila Huge, because the Stila Huge flakes a whole lot more than this one. If, however, you are not doing a second look in the day, unless you're washing off your makeup, then I would definitely recommend the Stila Huge. I think that it offers more volume and length than the Lancôme Monsieur Big. So it just depends on what it is you're doing. They are both very good, solid mascaras. They just differ in their longevity and what you can expect from them. Now, the Stila Huge only flakes really if it's disturbed in a significant way, and when you take a brush like that and you're going over and you're going to touch your lashes, you're disturbing them more than you might during the rest of the day, so that makes sense. The last thing that I did off camera was that I did put on the Urban Decay All Nighter Setting Spray. Just makes sense. I'm using an Urban Decay palette and I have this sample size container. So that is what I did there. And that's it. That's my look. I'm not going anywhere fancy, but I have very pretty eyes and I'm going to enjoy the look for the rest of the day. That is the last of the shadows that I hadn't used yet from the Elements palette. If you really want to see how all of these perform, please do check out the swatches video that I did on this palette, because swatches really tell the story a whole, well, not the whole story, but they tell the story a whole lot more than just looking at shadows in the pan. So I encourage you to do that. I thank you very much for your time today. I appreciate it, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. But for now, take care.